are at the Village Council regular meeting, February 13th, 2025. We are at 7:03. And we will start with roll call. Councilperson McNamara.
Present.
Councilperson Coss.
Present.
Council President Cameron.
Here.
Councilperson Gray.
Present.
Councilperson Passion.
Here.
And Councilperson Coss.
Present. Wait, no,
I think
you did
Martin.
it twice.
Okay, the paper's wrong. Who am I missing?
Martin.
I'm
Martin.
still here, guys, twice, just in case, big out.
Okay, wait, let me make sure. Oh, no, okay. I'm good on the rest of them. I just really wanted to make sure you were here.
I'm definitely here.
All right, pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Next, we will move to our meeting minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the January 23rd, 2025 committee as a whole minutes?
Motion.
Okay, wait, who said that? David.
Second.
Seconded was. Why is my mind blank? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And any abstentions?
Abstain.
All right. A motion to approve the January 23rd, 2025 council meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And any abstentions?
Abstain.
Do we have a motion to approve the February 6th, 2025 council work session minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And any abstentions?
That's me, because I was here, sorry.
Were you here for a second?
I listened. The mayor told me I could vote if I listened.
All right, we will go to our village official reports, and we will start with Chief Mattel.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have any additional to add to the, my report, other than, I guess, we do have 2 people in process for hiring, so, in regards to the 2 officers that left.
Perfect. Does anybody have any questions for Chief? And Mr. Jeffrey Wilczek is working on the final figures for end of month, so he will be likely at the next meeting at the end of, or no, what are we at? January 13th. So he will come to the next one in 2 weeks.
End of month or end of the year?
End of everything.
Okay, perfect.
End of January probably, and still probably end of the year. So anybody has any questions, feel free to do that. And then we will move to Mike Flickinger's report. All right, task order number 28 is the 2025 roadway improvement project, which is Minerva Lake Road. With the announcement of MORPC's funding for the project, we began revising the documents based on feedback and direction from the October 24 open house. The intent is to bid the project this spring with the goal of issuing a notice to proceed on or about July 7th, since the funds cannot be requested until after July 1st, pending the agreement with MORPC. Task order number 30 is the maintenance building. The village and contractor executed all necessary documents, including the agreement, the notice of commencement, and notice to proceed. We will have a pre-construction meeting tentatively scheduled for February 28th. Next, we have task order number 31. Lake Improvements Detail Project. We started the work associated with the permitting process, including submitting documentation to the Ohio Department of Natural Resources and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service for their review and comment. We anticipate continuing coordination with the appropriate permitting agencies in order to have their reviews completed on or about July 1st. We anticipate beginning detailed design work in early March to develop the preliminary drawings necessary for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers review on or around July 1st. Task order number 34, 2025 roadway improvement project. This is the Northland Plaza Drive. We started preliminary design work for the project, including conceptual project phases and the maintenance of traffic. They are developing a scope of work required with surveying and assisting the village in soliciting the surveys being done by a professional. And that concludes my Flickinger's report.
Sorry, Mayor?
Yes.
What section of Northland Plaza is that?
It's by,
Just the part that we have, so,
Ponderosa to.
Yeah.
Yes.
it's the right side by Lake
Okay.
Whiskey.
yes. That is, I believe, one of the top failing ones. That's the one with the big, huge potholes every year that, yeah.
Can we make sure that it gets added to the packet online?
Yes, he actually just sent it right before the meeting.
It's there, it's listed as a supporting document.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, it came late, because I didn't get it until right before the meeting. So, that's Mike Flickinger's report. If anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to me, and I can reach out to Mike. And next, we will move to,
Nico's not here, so.
okay, we will, Jesse is out tonight, he will be here in 2 weeks. Next, we will move to our village planner, Mr. Eric Fisher.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. Only thing to report is that, per your approval of the budget, the GIS project will begin moving forward, hopeful. And that'll take a few months, but we should have a nice, fully functioning perpetual GIS through our Civic Pro software stuff, and that'll be pretty wonderful.
When did you say?
The GIS, so you guys approved the GIS project, that's an additional module to it, which makes sense. For us to finally get stuff out of Jacob's hands and in a way, you know, basically, in a way that the village staff as well as residents can utilize on a regular basis, that will be kept and, you know, be perpetual, that's the same.
Okay.
So,
So I just went here.
no worries, Steve, thank you.
You're good.
So, when you use the others, we'll scroll on for this month.
Sure.
Okay.
All right, and then the zoning officer is actually out this week, so if anybody has any questions, feel free to email me. Or him. And then next we will move to planning and zoning, Mr. Tommy Green.
I know there is a meeting currently scheduled for February 19th, I believe it is.
Right, and I think what, at this point, since we're gonna have, we're short with the members and we're gonna be missing a couple members, and actually that meeting, likely that meeting's gonna be canceled, we'll get a full announcement out, between tomorrow and Monday.
Okay.
Monday's holiday. Maybe, it's Monday?
That's what it say, right?
But,
Yes.
So we'll get something
So
else
Tuesday.
tomorrow, or, yes.
Tomorrow or Tuesday. All right, next we will move to Council President Camera for NPCA.
Okay, NPCA meeting was last night. They reviewed their holiday events. They said that the gift wrapping fundraiser did really well the first night. The second night of it, they had no one show up for it. So they're gonna look at some changes to it, but they did well over the one night that they had people come in. They felt like trolley rides went really well, especially going down to one trolley bar. And that the swap of the trolley rides and the children's party actually worked out better. It was a little more logistically manageable. Festival of Lights, they awarded those winners. They'll get, I think they get a $50 gift card for that. There's an Oscars watch party here in the building on March 2nd. It starts at 6 p.m. There are going to be small to large prizes. I meant to ask this in the work session. They asked if maybe we could donate something with a pool, like guest passes or something like that. It's one of their prizes to give away. So, so I'll work with them on that. Spring Fling event is April 26th, 2 to 4 p.m. I believe it's also here at this building. And then looks like they did a soup party through the Minerva Park Food Group that people really enjoyed. And so they're looking to expand that a little bit and do some other events, food type events within the village. And that was April that kind of led that charge. Newsletter deadline is 2/21. 2/21 if you didn't catch that already. They're looking to do graduation shout-outs in the newsletter, in the mail newsletter. So they're not quite sure if it's, some talk has been, you know, you buy like a business card size ad, or they may just kind of group things like Westerville schools and kind of let you put a line in there, shout out to, you know, your student or whoever it is. So
Can we do college too?
yes, you can do college as well. So Aaron is gonna cut that up for the May
go.
Yes. Todd Gale brought that up as he's the Sunshine Director. So,
Do we know when?
in the past couple weeks. Yeah. And then Minerva Flora talked about, there are things coming up, so they're working on invasive plant removal within our green spaces. They have some education classes coming up. We talked about the tree planting that they're gonna be doing. And then they're working with Friends of Columbus, I guess is the group, the FACT group that they're working with for the tree, invasive tree removal. And that was it.
Awesome.
And I've already asked the other questions that came.
Anybody have any questions for him?
Just a little bit of a piggyback, when we talk about invasive tree removal, that's something to keep in mind as we, talk about the Lakes project as well. When we see so many trees being removed, that a sizable portion of them are the invasive alder species. So it's, while shocking and not necessarily pleasant to see, not a massive environmental loss as long as we replace with the appropriate species when the work in those areas are complete.
All right. Next, we will move to committee as a whole reports. We will start with finance. Councilperson Green.
And finance was kind of already touched on with Mr. Jeff being following up on reports. We don't really have much to report.
Perfect. 2 weeks. We'll have that.
2 weeks.
And then next, we will move to Councilperson Passion for Safety.
Chief provided in his report the official information on safety, but I just want to add, as an aside, we're beginning to talk about if there are things that residents can do to help make the village safer as well. One thing that was brought up was turn on your front porch light. And so it's a dark village, and it would really help a lot if the residents could help brighten it up. So just a thought, and we will be coming to you with additional suggestions as we discuss them and they make sense. That's it.
Awesome. All right. Next, we have legislation. Councilperson McNamara.
So not a massive legislative agenda tonight. We kind of got through the big bulk of that around last December, this January. We are going to start a document on the clarifying the role of planning and zoning, going to do a second reading of the Tax Incentive Review Council designees for Minerva Park, and going to attempt to pass a resolution setting up, I guess you say, a framework for the care of our police canine individuals.
Perfect. All right.
To each tonight.
Does anybody have any questions for any of those three committees? Okay. Mayor's report. I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. First, I want to thank Jason for coming in like 15 times in the last couple days for everything that we've been doing. We have been meeting with pool architects and interviewing them, trying to get an RFP from them. We will bring them to you guys as soon as we do have them. We met with 2 really good candidates. We do have a couple other ones that we may reach out to if needed. I don't want to go over the estimates just yet because we do only have one, so I obviously don't want to announce it in a public meeting what it is. So once I get the other one, then we'll kind of, again, we'll bring it to everybody and make sure that everybody can see both of those. So still dealing with MKSK on that. MKSK was here for one of the meetings. So again, right now we are just looking for the person that's going to help us, the architect, to help us kind of get to the next steps and then determine what we want to do. So that's where we are with those. And again, you helped with police interviews. Tommy's helped with some of those as well. So I do appreciate you guys coming in. I know coming in during the day is not always the easiest thing in the world. So, I'll reach out to other people the next time as an FYI. You guys are all in for that. Obviously, we have received quite a few, not quite a few, we've probably received maybe 5 or 6 concerned residents. I've seen the Facebook posts. Obviously, I don't stay on there much. But I have seen a couple of them. I'm just going to read something really quick. I'm not going to go through a lot, but I'm going to read just this from the company that we worked with. Just as thank you very much for the opportunity to work with you. We appreciate your business and look forward to working with you in the future. In regards to the removal that took place, we wanted you to be aware of the tree's health. All of the trees along the shoreline had significant lean, 75% of the trees had decay, and significant decline, which is causing the debris to fall into the lakes. These removals were properly inspected, removed, and by certified arborists. So, again, we've worked on this we've talked about this project. This is not necessarily, we've called it phase 1. It's a very small step of a large project. This is something that needs done regardless if we ever dredge the lake. And we know that we have steps towards that, but these are things that haven't been done since the 90s. Standing in this room and looking across the way, you can see how bad we are in need of taking care of some of the debris, the trees, the brush, everything. I'm not an arborist, don't claim to be. That's why we reach out to other people. We reached out to several people in regards to, we walked it, Brian walked it, which is our maintenance team, myself. We've met with several people out there. We've worked with our engineers. We've had people from Ohio State come in and talk to us. This has been ongoing, and way before 2016, way before my time, but these lakes need dredged. We've talked about forebays. We have met hours and hours with Mike Flickinger, this group, the previous groups. Even you have Tony has probably been in several of these meetings for hours talking about these lakes. This is not a new topic. I'm not gonna go crazy in detail on this right now. I just want people to understand that we're not just trying to go cut down random trees throughout the entire village. We are working towards a goal of getting these lakes dredged. So again, call this step 1, call this phase 1, call this a totally separate project. I have a huge goal of, by the time my term is up, to have these lakes dredged. That is 3 years. We are going to work with Mike. I give a report every single month about where we are in this lakes project. So, well, it's a very short report. You see it. It's just where we are as far as getting the permitting and getting all of those things. So, my goal is to have a completed project within 3 years. And will it happen? I don't know. But that is the goal that I have. We are working on funding. We are working on multiple different avenues at this time, which is the same thing we have been working on for quite some time. So we are going to continue to pick pieces, do everything that we can to get us to the finish line. And that is essentially what we are doing, is picking things to get to the next step. Right now, the next part that we are going to be doing, and we will bring this to you guys as soon as we do, we'll bring it to council as soon as we have it. We have reached out to a couple different people to go ahead and get a tree survey of all of the trees over there, as well as the rest of this part over here, as those are closer to people's properties and all of that. That's gonna be one of the next steps. Does that mean we're cutting more trees down in the next 6 months? No. But that does mean that we are going to the next step of getting the tree survey done. And we will, I just read Mike Flickinger's report, we will continue to wait for some of the things that he's working on. And that's all I have. That's not all I have. The next thing is, the water line that broke over on East Shore. Yes. To my knowledge, that is complete, it is fixed, it is all of that. We had obviously a huge mess for about 24 hours. And thankfully we had some people that were able to come out and try to help turn the water off, and once we were able to get it shut off, got it fixed. They came back out a couple days later and fixed the fire hydrant. So my knowledge, up and running, everything's fixed.
But keep us honest if there's something else that's going on, let us know.
Yeah, and then the other thing is, I did have somebody reach out, this person's not here, but there is another water line, something, but I do believe it's on her property, which triggered her to find out what's going on with the other one that we talked about a while ago.
Yeah.
So we know that whole court is gonna need to be redone, and Mike is working on that, but that's where I am. Mike is working on it. So that's the answer I have for that one, but I will see if I can reach out to her tomorrow, just to let her know that It's not forgotten, it's just not ready.
This is out of order.
And that's mine. Do you wanna?
I mean, it's out of order, but do you mind if I say something about beliefs as well?
No, it's mayor's report, so if you guys don't, yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
Does it-
I just want to say, like, you know, and I have seen some of the things, I've gotten the emails too. I don't want anybody to think that we're not on the same page. Nobody wants an ugly lake. Nobody wants, you know, to make it look worse. But the thing is like, we have to take a step to make sure that it doesn't disappear. And what's in our power right now is to make sure that the trees that are causing all of this destruction to the lake are taken care of. Is it unsightly in the moment? Absolutely. Is it our end goal for it to look better and prettier and to have an overall improvement of the village? Absolutely. Nobody's saying like, let's just cut it down and we're done. Okay, good enough. I have higher standards than that. I think all of us here have higher standards than that, and that's why we're on council, to make sure that what we're doing is best for the village and it's aesthetically pleasing and beautiful. Do you have to make something look ugly before it gets better? Absolutely. So, you know, this is not the finished product. Yes, you have to have some faith and leadership, which I'm sure all of us have a little bit of a hard time doing currently. I totally get that. But our end goal is to make this nicer and better and not trash. That's all I got. But that's all I have. Because it looks like that.
Anybody else? Okay, let's go to citizen comments. Jim. Mr. Tony Benedetti, state your name, social security number.
But you're not getting that. Tony Benedetti, 2937 Berry Lane Court. Tonight I'd like to talk about communications, and as was stated or talked about on the Facebook post about the lake, you know, there are a lot of people that don't believe that the villages communicate very well, and I have to agree with them. You know, where I see things falling apart is this meeting, 25 minutes and we're almost done. The reason that these meetings go so quickly is because you guys don't report anything. And tonight, there wasn't, except for Kathy, she talked about what she hopes to do with her committee. And the best report we got was from Jason about the community association, where he described what's going on, which really has nothing to do with the village, which I shouldn't even be part of this meeting in the first place. And tonight was the first time, Mayor, that you actually described what steps were going to be taken when it comes to the cleaning the lakes up. Because as you said, we've been talking about it for 10, 20 years. So for you to imply that the residents should understand exactly what we're about to do here is ridiculous. Because in order to find out what's going on, you got to go through these meetings, listen to them. They're hard to hear. It's hard to understand what's going on. Tonight, I'm sitting in a room. I don't know what the heck he was talking about that is coming up, that he, you know, his report tonight. I couldn't hear it, and I'm sitting right here. The mayor talked about Northland Plaza, a road. That's something you ought to explain to people. What the heck are we doing in Northland Plaza repairing roads? It's not in the village.
Northland Plaza Drive is right here.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so, you know, you need to start explaining things to people. And in the Facebook post that you put on February 4th was the first time that you talked about trees being cut down. I had no idea that that's the direction you guys were heading next. It just all of a sudden happened. No, it didn't all. On the 4th, 9 days ago, and in that report, you said that you were going to be working on the north shore of the South Lake. Well, what about the south shore of the South Lake? There's a whole bunch of trees got cut down there, and that wasn't even explained to anybody. You know, so to imply that you guys are reporting to the residents what you're doing is a joke. You don't. You require the residents to get on the internet, look and listen. You know, you don't see nothing in the minute. You'll never figure out what's going on in the minute. So you got to listen to the meetings, figure out which one it is that you're going to be talking about, the topic that you're interested in. I've gotten to the point where I gave up. I stopped doing it. I used to do it all the time, but it is such a chore to figure out what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Now you can,
North Shore Plaza is part of the village and it is.
Northland. It's-
Northland Plaza Drive is part of the village and it got a failing report when the engineer surveyed our roads and it has terrible potholes. And we've had multiple complaints and if you drive there, you know it is not great. And so we are trying to make it.
I think it's the term Northland Plaza.
It's Northland Plaza Drive.
Northland Plaza Drive,
But
it
it
changed
makes
the
it
name.
sound like it's the whole length
Yeah.
of that road.
Okay.
I think if you look it up online, it actually says it's Dublin Granville.
Right,
because
so
all
it's
those
old
addresses
Dublin
are-
Granville that
Yeah.
turns into Northland
Yeah.
Plaza Drive.
So it's Old Dublin Granville Road from Ponderosa.
I thought it was a
to-
service road. I didn't know that was Northland Plaza Drive.
Yeah, I think it is named that on the other end. This end
That's the
of
only
it,
time I see it.
this
over
end of
there.
it is Old Dublin Granville Road, so.
All right, now I understand.
Yeah, that comes from our engineer who's been calling it that, so.
All right, Munir. Hi, how are you?
Hello. How are you all doing?
Good.
I am Representative Munira Ismaila, your state representative, and I'm just here to give a report of last year and a report of, priorities in this next year. Last General Assembly, really happy and proud to be able to secure $200,000 for the Lake project. Sending over some new resources. ODNR just announced their new Clean Lake Fund. You're able to apply for about $500,000, I believe, so I'll send that over soon. But very happy to have gotten us funding, and in the other parts of the district, we got $500,000 for Elevate North Fund. We were able to introduce 13 pieces of legislation. 2 of them were able to pass. One of them was to ban unauthorized, unconsented pelvic exams, because apparently it's legal. Well, it's legal, not anymore. And then a recognition of, World Refugee Day. This General Assembly, the priorities are to bring back legislation from last year, primarily insulin affordability, trying to cap insulin for everyone at $25. Folks always say, did they do that federal? No, they only did that for folks on Medicaid, 65 and above. And so we want to make that available for everyone and also add insulin pumps and diabetic equipment. As we well know, it's extremely expensive, and so we want to be able to take that burden away from people. Along those lines, more insulin prescription affordability bill, so healthcare affordability is a huge priority, infrastructure projects, and also securing funding for public education. Unfortunately, this General Assembly has already indicated that they do not want to fund public schools, and they actually want to take away some of the funding that was already deemed unconstitutional. So fighting against that, it is, just a reminder, we do have the most corrupt state house in America, so not a lot gets done, and you guys know that. But I will continue fighting in this legislature. I am now on 3 committees versus the 5 from last year. The speaker has decided to cut down our committees and also cut down the members on the committees in the Democratic Party. So we're only on 3 committees now. So I'm now on higher education, development, and general government, ranking member on higher education. And before my time runs out, last couple of things, constituent services, just want to remind constituents, we are available to help you connect with agencies, so if you have trouble with jobs and family services, any of the state agencies. So if you need support, please email my office. It's rep09@ohiohouse.gov. This GA, we really want to focus on more constituent services, town halls, listening sessions, so I'll send that information over to you all, so you can send it to residents in Minerva Park. And would love to attend more community events. I don't live in Minerva Park, but I'd love to be apprised of that so I can show up and just talk to constituents more. Because not a lot can get done in the state legislature. Again, it's extremely corrupt. It focuses on all the wrong things. So I want to be able to be available to constituents on the ground and help wherever I can. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything that you do.
All right, Todd Eisler. State your address and go ahead.
2964 Minerva Lake Road. Thanks for opening up the floor for people to talk. I just want to talk about the lake a little bit. Obviously, seeing trees going down. I wish there was more information posted, more clarifying, and I understand the more you put up, the more people are going to grab onto that and fight about it. So I also appreciate the value of being sparse on details. But as it relates to taking down trees, just want to challenge you to remember all the things that we learned in elementary school about how they help with erosion, which is also going in. So there's mitigating effects that are taken away by taking away the trees. I can't honestly tell from the map that that went up on the site if you're planning to clear all the trees within the map all the way out to Cleveland Avenue. I hope not, but if you do, that seems like a really bad idea. But hopefully that's not what the plan is. But I'll let you guys clarify that. Also, as we reduce any trees on the south side of the lake, that allows a lot more sunshine to hit the lake, thus increasing the water temperature, thus increasing the biological activity and the bacteria and the grossness that comes from the goose poop and whatever. So the fewer trees we can cut on the south side, probably the better for us, although still the leaves, and yeah, everything has a cost. Also, I heard alder trees. I would love to have someone actually make a scientific identification of the alder trees that we have in the neighborhood, because there are native alder trees and there are invasive alder trees. They're absolutely both. I've just never seen anyone who's positively ID'd the ones in our neighborhood as the invasive ones. So I get grumpy every time I see them come down, because I'm like, you're cutting alder trees and you just call them the thing that allows you to cut them. But if they're invasive, absolutely, every last one, take them down. That's all I had to say. So, thank you guys.
Appreciate it. Go ahead.
I
You know way
just-
more about trees than I do.
No, I just want to say that is a very good point. I recall a couple years ago, we had a tree surveyor come out, or someone of some sort of professional nature, and they did identify them as the invasive species. I don't have the specifics of that encounter off the top of my head anymore, but I mean, if that's something that needs, revisited, then that is something that, leaf and trunk identification wouldn't take too terribly long to
I'm
do.
good at most of them, but when it comes to alder trees, I have no idea what's what.
Yeah, I haven't looked at them closely since then myself, to be honest with you.
Right now, most of that has been put into the hands of the Minerva Flora Group, who is working with some agencies that specialize in that. So right now, as a village in our green spaces, we're not focused on that. We're focused on the bigger lake project right now. So Minerva Florida, who's part of MPCA, has volunteered to take on removing invasive species within our green spaces to help with that, and they're working with some local agencies that specialize in that.
Okay.
And just to clarify about the erosion part of it, we are planning on planting some other plants that are not trees to help with that. It's not just gonna be gravel, which seems to be a
that'd be
misconception.
Common
No,
concern.
we're just trying to, buffer it, so trees, plants, so there's not as much stuff that goes into the lake, but it's also something that is more feasible for us to maintain. We're not trying to trash it.
My hometown Prospect cut down every tree on the main road through town, revealing that all the houses are 150-year-old and underkept, and it made everything from shady and pretty to, oh my goodness, why haven't we bought new siding in 50 years? And just
Yeah,
wanted to
we're
make
just,
sure.
it's just one step in the right direction, but it is not by any means the final step.
There's a great, the lake remediation, I'm sorry, if you have more to say.
No, you're
No,
good.
there's an OSU presentation, on there, and it's very long, but very kind of,
Very long.
I don't want, it's very elementary in its explanation of some of the challenges with the tree debris that falls into the lake every season, and it creates this, it's creating the muck, and as well as the debris that flows in from outside of the village that is really tough to control. So I think that's part of the challenge is how do you, it just stinks because cutting a
Rock
tree
or hard
stinks. But you want to make sure that before you spend $3, $4, $5, $6 million on a dredging project, that you stopped the problem that's creating this. So you don't have to dredge every 20, maybe it can be 25, 30, 35, 40, if you have the right mitigation steps in play.
We're thinking long term.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you.
Clarify?
Yes.
Our situation real quick. So this is the native Ohio one, it's called smooth alder. Okay, this is what the leaf looks like. Now, this is mostly found towards the Allegheny, eastern part of Ohio, so you're probably not gonna see this one locally, but you might. But this is the key issue is the leaf, and then if you look at the European alder, That's the European black alder, that's the one that's kind of given us a headache. So this is the one that got loose in cultivation and spread like a wildfire, according to the DNR. So clear difference in the leaf and other details, but smooth alder is the one you don't want to cut down.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, I apologize, I'm not much for tree identification without the leaves myself, when there's a rough season for me as well.
Right. 99% of the others, I'm your guy, but not those guys. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Evan?
Evan Harper, 5164 Lakeland Court.
Say that again, sorry.
5164 Lakeland Court. I want to thank you all for your due diligence with regards to the lake project. I've been sort of following it, so knowing about it in the abstract, and not just seeing the trees go down, coming home from work and seeing them all down.
Surprise!
A panic moment. But, I understand the importance of it with regards to, keeping the lake. And I live, some of you have been to my house, and I live sort of next to the peninsula and the bird sanctuary there, so any sort of lake-related projects is going to impact me. I don't want to exaggerate, but probably more than anyone else in the entire village. And, but I appreciate the necessity and the need. I think I just want to speak to two things which mostly have been answered, and therefore sort of the future projects that were sort of explained to me. And I know these are all sort of up in the air depending on funding and whatnot, but one of them being the sort of remediation of erosion control along the bank. I know that we've got rip gravel along that side of the bank, and I don't know about you, but I think it's kind of ugly personally. So I add my voice to the call for saying, hey, if we can do this naturally, let's try and make it look good, because I know the intent is to open up the lake for the village to enjoy, and who's going to enjoy an abandoned quarry? Nobody. So the second portion is the proposed. I don't know if this is actuality or anything like that, but the proposed path around the entirety of the lake. My property sort of abuts the lake. It's probably the closest south place. So if there were a path to be put around the lake, it would travel within probably 5 feet of my house, which is obviously kind of demoralizing given that I bought the house specifically so I could have to view of the lake, and people walking my backyard is kind of unsettling. But again, I don't want to be labeled a NIMBY. Like, I understand the intention is to open up the lake to everybody. So I think my whole goal here is to sort of like, if I have to give up my privacy, my security, and my beautiful view that I've been keeping to myself very jealously over these last decade or so, and I'd like the lake to look good. So I do want to specifically thank JP and Tommy for reaching out to me after I made that Facebook post. I really didn't mean to stir everybody up. I was just trying to get some more information. They both very definitely private and answer all my questions. And we all seem to be on the same page with regard to this. So I just want to say that I appreciate your work.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, I actually want to say something, and I never do this, but Tony, Todd, and I have seen some of the Facebook posts, even though sometimes I say I never look at it, but of course I do. I just appreciate you guys coming tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, having you come in and express your concerns and everything, I know not everybody can actually make it, but, we just, I think I talk about it so much just because obviously I'm extremely involved in it. There are times in which, yes, we probably could. I will admit to Tony, there are probably things that we could put and do a little bit better, getting it in the newsletter and getting things in there. So I will not argue with you on that. And it's sometimes it's just one of those things that, again, I talk about it so much because I talk about it in 6 different meetings, and then we also talk about it internally. I do think that there are probably times that we could put a little bit more information out there, and holding me to the fire to that, like Tony always does, is something that we will continue to try. In my mind, and I don't want to speak for everybody up here on council, so everybody can hear where I feel like next steps are going, is tree survey for that lake and everything else around here. Because again, once you start getting 5 feet of your house, I feel like that's a necessary step. And many people, it's close to theirs. As far as the walking path around it, I'm just going to say it's being discussed. There are designs, there are going to be things that come out. This is in our report every single month, and this is Mike's little blurb. So trying to keep track of like dates when Mike's going to release additional information. Usually when he releases something major, we try to bring him in and just have an hour or 2 hour meeting, because every Mike Flickinger meeting is 2 hours. And he will listen to this and he will laugh, but it's true. We always invite all residents to come to every single meeting, but especially those. He does give a lot of really good information. He's done it several times a year for I can't tell you how many years. But again, I don't want to drag this on. I do appreciate you guys coming in, expressing your questions and concerns, and we do take them seriously. And it is hard to kind of go through the Facebook post when, you know, you start reading things and you're just like, that's great, but I have no idea where you got that. So it's just, so again, I like the fact that you guys took the time out, and especially emails also are much more personal, and I feel like it's easier to communicate. You're never gonna see me comment on a Facebook post. So because again, as soon as you do, it just goes crazy. But
Lawyers don't like when we.
and lawyers do not like that. So, again, responding, you know, if you have a personal question or you want to know what next steps are, Barb, you can send it to Barb. Barb will either get it to me or the attorney or whatever, and we will get you the information. But, again, you're hearing it from me. In my world, unless they stop this, survey pricing is next. They will then discuss that, once we see what that is, and then we'll move forward on that if they decide that that's what they want to do. It doesn't mean we're going to cut trees down. We're just getting the survey done. What's the next step from there? Waiting for more information from Mike.
But there's also the idea that these trees can only have been handled at a certain period of time because of the bat that's
Yes.
protected, and you have to get ODNR involved.
Correct.
And all this stuff, so when you cut them, it's
Yes.
during a time when there's no foliage to block anything.
Yes.
And it looks like, it
And we-
looks so bad.
and we
March 31st is the deadline.
And we had the funding now to do it. It was just the logical next, easiest, cheapest way to go forward. Because the next step would be less, I don't know, what do you wanna say? This tree survey would probably be less money if we already cut down the trees had to be cut down.
Right.
So we're
It's
trying
gonna
to,
cost, yeah.
we're trying to make this happen. So, but yeah, so I just wanted to echo what Tiffany said is like, thank you for coming out. You know, it's really hard on Facebook. I sometimes take it personally too, where it's like, this is not what's happening. This conversation is getting out of control. Everybody's jumping to conclusions. can't really jump in and be like, actually, have a conversation. We are not trying to hide anything. And I think what happens on Facebook is that somebody assumes that we're not on the same page, that we also don't live here, that we don't care. We care enough to sit up here and sacrifice time with our family to make sure that our neighborhood is beautiful. So if you go in there being like, oh, we try to have your guys' best interest in mind, I hope you believe that about me. At least I can't speak to everybody, but I think everybody here goes above and beyond. We're all on the same page. Nobody wants to look at trash. Everybody wants it to be nice and wants it to be nice for a long period of time when you're old, to come back here and be like, this is where I like raise my kids, and this is where, you know, my formidable years were like, I want this to be a nice memory and I still want it to be nice.
But it's also about the legacy that should be.
Yeah, you don't want to be like, oh wow, they really suck. They just cut a bunch of trees down and then they moved to New Albany. Nobody wants
I have to
that.
think about the next 40 years, not necessarily this next year.
Yeah.
How do you make it better?
Right, so like, guys, we're like in it for the long run. Like, yeah, I mean, you can think the worst of us.
And
but we
stop
really
by
are.
here too,
Yeah.
and reach out to us privately. I know I've shared with many people, like, I'd love to get involved in the Facebook battle. Sometimes I don't have
Oh,
nothing
me
better to
too.
do. But I don't want to violate sunshine laws and have to take some special course or get fined and it be my fault.
Jail.
We can't, probably not jail, but you never know. And, you know, we want to do the best thing, but we have to do it the right way and communicate properly and not get in trouble. And I don't make enough in this role to get
Neither
in
do
trouble.
I promise you, neither do I. But again, thank you. So it really is important to us to have residents involved, and you don't know if you're doing a good job or bad job unless any resident tells us. So.
We're always doing a bad job.
No, not always. I got a good response from him once.
Once? You got it?
Once.
Wow.
Can I just say that I really like what's going on at the strip mall? You know, I've complained about signs. You know, I'm sorry if you guys didn't come in to say something positive, but I think the strip mall is looking a hell of a lot better from a sign standpoint.
Yeah, because the trash is driving me nuts right now, so that's been my battle this week, just so you know. The trash that's
But
overflowing.
the other mall, the mall further south could use some help.
Tony, you can always speak anytime that you have something positive to say.
Yeah. You always start with a nice thing to
I'll
say.
remember that I won't waste any of my 3 minutes on
Yeah.
positive stuff. Do you remember that?
Just remember, Tony, you are the only one on the free pass. Okay, so let's get to the next part. Again, I just wanted to say that to you guys, so. Is there anybody else that wants to speak? I'm not trying to get anybody on the spot. Okay. Legislation?
All right, Madam Mayor, thank you. So moving to legislation, tonight we have a first reading of ordinance 2025-01, amending the P&Z duties. As we talked about earlier, this is to correct the wording in section 1202.4 subsection D to align with what they really do. So, an ordinance amending chapter 1202.04 subsection D of the Village of Minerva Park codified ordinances. That is our first reading. So we shall continue. We now move to resolution 2025-04, a resolution appointing Kathy Passion and Barbara Sutton as the village designees for the Tax Incentive Review Council and Community Reinvestment Authorities. This is a second reading, so it has been read. Now we move to the exciting one of the evening. This is resolution 2025-06, a resolution authorizing the chief of police to enter into a contract for kenneling and at-home care of the police dog for the Village of Minerva Park, Franklin County, Ohio, and ideally to declare an emergency. So I move that we suspend the rules requiring 3 readings to resolution 2025-06.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Will there be any discussion?
Council President Cameron.
Aye.
Councilperson Martin.
Aye.
Councilperson Passion.
Aye.
Councilperson Cost.
Aye.
Councilperson McNamara.
Aye.
Councilperson Gray.
Aye.
Having waived the readings, I move for passage of resolution 2025-06 on an emergent basis.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Will there be any discussion?
I think, go ahead.
No, I think that this in general, because I like to kind of bring it about that, you know, this is to put the village more in line with the FLSA guidance, the Fair Labor Standards Act, in regards to a canine and how they're treated and how things are done with that officer, and to make sure that it's in writing, in stone, and that we're doing it by the books. It's really to try to limit any kind of liability with a canine officer and not getting the appropriate treatment standards, whatever. So I think it's a good idea. I mean, we talk about it all the time. And that's it.
Will there be further discussion?
I was gonna say the same thing.
All right.
Councilperson Gray.
Aye.
Councilperson McNamara.
Aye.
Councilperson Cost.
Aye.
Councilperson Passion.
Aye.
Councilperson Martin. Council President Cameron.
Aye.
The motion passes. That concludes legislative business for this evening.
Old business. Anybody with any new business?
I think there was, in regards to lakes, people were saying maybe we should have a little bit of a town hall to maybe informally, but just have conversations about what we hope to do, what we want to do. I think that might be a good idea for us to maybe put some time in the future.
I would like to, you hear this first, as soon as we get the next step from Mike, I would like to bring him in, because us talking about it doesn't do us much good. Not that we can't discuss it, we can discuss whatever, but bringing Mike Flickinger in is always when I like to do those particular meetings, because he can answer the meat and potatoes of it. I mean, again.
He can tell you what we can and can't do.
Yeah, so, we do post those, and I usually do make it specific that it will say engineer, and it will say discussion of the lakes. So again, we've done that several times in the past, and you guys are gonna hear it, you guys are all responsible to hold me to it. We need to make sure that it's posted everywhere, we make it extremely and normally those are scheduled usually about 2 weeks in advance with Mike, so it's not anything that's last minute. Getting his schedule and everything. My guess is it's probably gonna be July, because that seemed to be the dates that I was seeing most of his responses, July 1st, July 1st, and July 1st. So I'm gonna assume it's gonna be midsummer, which would be nice, especially if we do it, you know, at 6 o'clock, we can actually see it during the time, and, you know, he can pinpoint things out and all that good stuff. So, I just personally would like to do it when Mike has a chance to come in and go over all of his findings and where we currently are in permitting at that point. Because if we don't get permitting or we don't get any of that stuff, there is nothing to talk about.
We can talk about what is realistically possible, or just wasting everyone's time.
Right.
I mean, even if we don't have it, we can at least explain where we are and what we need to go to the next step. I mean,
Right.
It's just
Correct. And again, you guys we can schedule a meeting anytime you guys want, just even for basics. So that is completely up to you guys. We can turn a work session into a Lakes meeting for all you, or at a meeting on a Thursday that we are free in March or April. So again, that's up to you guys. Watch for it. Barb is amazing and posts everything to the Facebook page. She posts it to the website. You can always see it on the calendar. If you actually click on it, it will say like council meeting, or it will say work session to discuss lakes, or it will say that on there. It won't just say a work session. If it just says a work session, then we're just talking about everything. Old business or new business at this point.
Just a plug, get your pool membership.
Yeah, save
100
the
days,
pool.
100 days till the pool opens.
It's gonna be -7 this week. Get your pool memberships.
That's a good reason to get your membership.
Right,
they're on
You can
sale.
Warm things.
Yeah, and they are on sale right now.
and think more thoughts.
Yeah, save the pool, buy membership.